Good afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'll get you updated on what's happening around the big business world out there. Of course, the big story right now, government shutdown, has happened as of midnight last night. And look, and how investors viewing this government shutdown is kind of the viewpoint that we need to take today as well. Obviously, politicians are doing what they do out there, and trying to get political or public sides on their issues, and we can get through that nonsense and get into the what the investors business world is looking at here with this deal. We are lots of threats of layoffs here in the federal government. Later on in the show, we'll talk about how the shutdown is going to affect Arizona. Right, we're in the middle of fall break for a lot of students, and it's coming up for other areas. Well, it's a couple areas you're probably not going to want to travel to with this government shutdown. It does continue. So we've got all of those updates coming up for you today. We did get the ADP payroll report today. Obviously, a private company report that we have. So we have that information, and does that mean we're going to get the non-farm payroll jobs on Friday? Well, probably not. We got all those updates, and let's get into it with that Market Watch. Look at this. I'm actually kind of surprised. The market is doing fairly well relative to what we were expecting here today from the market. Now, the reason why, I've been reading a lot into this, what we're expecting on the business side. Well, traders are betting that the shutdown will actually be short-lived here. So they expect it to end fairly quickly. Now, what quickly means, I've seen some people say, through Friday. I've seen some people say a 2-week shutdown. Last one that was there was a 28-day shutdown back in the late 2018 through that 2019 range. So those are the expectations, and traders are betting on that. Well, that means everything's in the green today. So, right, the Dow Jones is up 118 points right now to 46,426. The S&P 500's up 32 points to 6705. As of this moment, NASDAQ up 64 points to 22,724. That small cap index even getting in on the positive fund today. 3 points up for it, 2434 as of right now. And then look at Bitcoin today, rebounding as well, getting up into that 116,000 range, 116,853 for Bitcoin here today. So some optimism, at least from the business world and investors out there, which is kind of a nice thing to see with all of the negativity happening around the markets right now. Stocks that we're paying attention to, well, we're going to look at drug stocks specifically. I'm going to give you one here on the screen. Pfizer is the one I'm going to tell you about. Show you 7.24% up right now. All the drug makers up. We don't have graphs for them, but I'll tell you, Merck, Eli Lilly, Amgen, they're all up. They're all up in that 6% range. Some are 5.5%, some are 7.5%. As you see here with Pfizer, all the drug stocks are up today. Well, they're up second day in a row, by the way. Well, it's because investors are betting that the drug industry, it's going to strike more deals with the Trump administration. We told you yesterday, it was a stock we were paying attention to. Pfizer received a 3-year exemption on tariffs in exchange for investing in domestic manufacturing and discounting drug prices for Medicaid patients. So Pfizer was the first to do that. Investors are kind of betting that the other companies are going to make some deals as well. The whole drug industry as a whole is up today. Pfizer's up 7.30% right now. And we haven't looked at this stock in a while, so let's look at them. Tesla out there. Well, Tesla's had some success recently, and they're up 3.35% right now. They actually hiked its vehicle lease rates. Why did they do that? Well, that expiration last night at midnight of that $7,500 federal tax credit out there. Reuters came out and reported that this morning about the vehicle lease rates being extended there by Tesla as well. So auto manufacturers, I saw a report earlier today, Ford, GM, huge sales on EV cars with that expiration of that $7,500 credit. So record sales on EVs for Ford. Ford basically sales increased 8% in quarter three, for instance. because a lot of people were buying those EVs because of the subsidies going away at that point. So a lot of positivity around electric vehicles as those credits are disappearing out there. So some positive now. We'll see how we go in the long term. And then, of course, Reddit we're going to look at. I don't know why I said of course there, but I've been reading a lot about Reddit. So in my mind, you all know what I know about Reddit, right? Down 10% today, Reddit is. Why is Reddit down? Are they doing some business stuff wrong? No. Are they, money coming in short? No. Why is Reddit down 10%? Well, new data shows that ChatGPT citations that reference Reddit, well, it's down at least 8 percentage points from the beginning of September. Reddit's down 10 percentage points today because ChatGPT is not citing Reddit when you ask it a question. It's not citing Reddit as the place to go to for that information, and Reddit is down the 10% here today based off of that news from ChatGPT not focusing on them out there. And isn't that an amazing thing? It's going to be interesting to see if Reddit can get that calculated or fixed, or do they do something to ChatGPT? Maybe they're not paying a little money, right, to them out there. Later on when we come back and look at stocks, we're going to look at a company called AES out there. They're a renewable and thermal power producer. They're making big moves today. Nike did their quarterly filing yesterday. Netflix, we're going to look at them is because one person said something about Netflix, and their stock is making moves today. And then we'll also look at Lithium Americas and see what their stock is doing. We told you before the Trump administration was going to get some equity into that company. We got some updates for that for you coming up as well. But first, well, we got that ADP report. This is private payrolls here, and basically private payrolls lost 32,000 jobs in June. This all comes from payroll processor ADP, and they announced this here earlier today. The figures, the economist estimates of a gain of 50,000 jobs is what they were expecting to happen, the economists were. The prior month's payrolls numbers was revised downward to a loss of 3,000. They originally reported a gain of 54,000, ADP did, the month prior. Despite widespread job losses that happened in September, specific segments gained, or basically weren't as bad as we thought they were. Let's put it that way, right? Education and health services had huge job losses in September. Well, they gained 33,000 positions less in this month of reporting. Natural resources and mining, well, they added 4,000 positions. Information, that specific segment, gained 3,000 jobs in that time frame. But other places lost a lot of jobs out there. Leisure and hospitality actually down 19,000 positions. Other services, right, that encompasses everything that doesn't have a thing, shed 16,000 jobs in that time frame. Professional and business services lost 13,000 jobs, and financial activities were down about 9,000 jobs in that same time frame. Trade, transportation, utilities, well, they all lost 7,000 jobs. Construction, manufacturing, both went down 5,000 and 2,000 between those two categories also. So big job losses in some of these categories that didn't have job losses leading up into last month. If you want to talk about what types of businesses are losing or hiring, well, large businesses, those are considered businesses with 500 or more employees. They added 33,000 jobs in the month in this reporting time frame. Businesses that are kind of mid-size, right, 50 to 499 employees, they actually lost 20,000 workers. Establishments with fewer than 50 employees, well, they shed 40,000 jobs in the same time frame. The lower the company, the smaller the company is, more losses were entailed here in the last month's reporting at that time. If you want to talk wage growth here from ADP, well, wage growth in September was little change from August. Well, people stay in their roles here because jobs are hard to come by, and nobody's laying off. People are laying off, but not in big numbers that you kind of expected to happen, and people are just staying there. So if you stayed in your role, pay climbed 4.5% from the prior year. Pay gains for those that stayed in their jobs, it slowed to 6.6%. It was at 7.1% in August at that time as well. So There is growth here for staying in the roles and everything, but more when you leave your role and move on as well. So obviously, the ADP report is private. It does come out before the Labor Department's non-farm payrolls report. That's scheduled to come out Friday. And these two reports differ hugely when their reporting comes out. The difference here is the Labor Department did come out earlier today, and they said they're going to halt all economic data releases as of today. So this includes the initial jobless claims that comes out on Thursday. And we just told you about the non-farm payrolls data on Friday as well. Probably not coming out unless this government shutdown does get a fix out here, because that's what we're looking at. So this ADP might be our only job numbers here coming up until the government shutdown does expire. And, in terms of the tariff side of things, we got the number here on how much money was collected from tariff revenue in September as well. The government said they collected $31.3 billion in tariff revenue. This is the September number, and the total was $73 million below the August number, which was a record in August. So now, here in 2025, the total number, $214.9 billion has been accumulated here in tariff revenue. And this is all from the Treasury Department. They released this data on September 29th, if you wanted to cite that and go look at the numbers more in depth. Tariff revenue did rise steadily, as we've told you here at McCollum on Business. It was at $17.4 billion back in April, $23.9 billion in May, and then it climbed up to that $28 billion in June, $29 billion in July, and of course that record number there in August as well. This is all in the backdrop. We are 1 month away, roughly, from the Supreme Court hearing arguments. They're going to do so during that first week of its November session on whether tariffs are legal and what the Trump administration, with his tariffs, if they're legal, if they're supposed to be happening. So we're 1 month away here from that coming up, with these revenues coming in at these numbers as we go into that. We told you yesterday about Pfizer making the agreement. We looked, of course, at Pfizer stock again today regarding them and what they're doing to the government to avoid these tariffs, etc. And a little bit more details here than what we've told you so far, because we told you before, Pfizer has agreed to significantly discount prices for some of their prescription drugs for all American consumers. They've even committed to offer prescription medications to Medicaid at those lower prices. That was all announced yesterday by the president, and Pfizer's CEO was in that meeting as well when it was announced. The President Trump did say the drugs will be available for purchase online on a website, and it's going to be operated by the federal government. And what is the website going to be called? Yeah, Trump RX is what it's going to be called, folks. Got to have Trump into everything, am I right? Pfizer CEO was also in the Oval Office when this announcement was made, that he said, flat out said, President Trump's threat of 100% tariffs on drugs manufactured outside the U.S., well, it motivated Pfizer to take quick and swift action to get manufacturing here in the U.S. The president said Pfizer's drug prices will be lowered starting immediately. They did not give us what drugs pricing would be or what they would be lowered to. That is kind of still a question mark, but he does say immediately in terms of the pricing drops. The president said the cost of some of Pfizer drugs could see decreases in the 50 to 100% range in this announcement as well. President Trump did say that the American consumers, those of us, and also taxpayers who subsidize a lot of these lower prices for Medicaid, et cetera, it's going to save hundreds of millions of dollars a year for us in their drugs that we are prescribed. The president also said Americans have been subsidizing research and development costs for the entire planet. Yes, because of the higher prices that Americans have been paying. And if you don't know how this works, we pay higher prices on our pills and medicines here. Everywhere else in the world pays a lesser amount, right? As we spend all the money on the R&D, etc. President Trump, hopefully some relief for you if you run into that side of things. And we're seeing more and more of this come to light, which is not surprising. It's how businesses operate. We see it with Chrome, with Google. They pay Apple hundreds of billions of dollars or several billion dollars in order to keep Chrome on the webs on the iPhones, not allow anybody else to come in, for instance, right? In terms of that, well, we're finding out now that home search website Zillow, well, they paid their rival Redfin $100 million. What did they pay him for? They pay him for services? Did they pay him for that? Nope. According to the FTC, they paid Redfin, their competitor, $100 million in order to keep the competition out of the online listing businesses that these both companies are in. The FTC has filed a lawsuit on this earlier yesterday against these two companies. As part of the February 2025 deal between the two companies, Redfin allegedly agreed that its website would be an exclusive syndicator to Zillow's listings. Well, that basically means that they're Zillow. They just copy Zillow's data onto their website is all they do from that side. And they get paid $100 million to do so, according to that FTC statement or lawsuit. The FTC also accused Redfin of agreeing to end its contracts with advertising customers and even stop competing in the advertising market for multifamily homes for up to 9 years with this payment amount of $100 million. The problem is not that they're in cahoots with each other necessarily, but Zillow and Redfin are two of the largest rental listing websites in the United States by traffic and revenue. Yeah, so two big guys getting together and stamping out the little guy out there. The agency, the FTC, I should say, alleged that the $100 million payment paved the way for Zillow to overwhelmingly take over the industry that they're in, that millions of Americans use, well, to find a place to live, whether rentals or buying a property as well. But not only that, but property managers use it to set their rents, find tenants, etc. That's what they deal with. The FTC has alleged that the illegal elimination in competition, well, it would lead, they say, to higher prices and even worse terms for multifamily unit advertising, meaning it doesn't cost as much to advertise as it probably should. It's also going to reduce incentives to attract would-be renters to use their services, according to the FTC out there. So another instance here of companies paying off their competition to not compete with them out there. And this is interesting times we live in that we're seeing this more and more throughout the world here between all of these companies. And I don't know if I like it. I just don't. What happened to competition back in the day, right? Hey, some other things here that if you have a kid, loves his Xbox, plays on it all the time, well, brace yourself. He might be a little upset today, or you might get a little upset with this news. Microsoft and Xbox, they've raised the price of the highest tier of Game Pass by 50%, folks, which is about $10, but still, it's 50% increase. Xbox is also expanding its offerings under the video game subscription service. They're going to include more games, enhanced cloud streaming, and even a revamped reward system with that $10 increase there as well. So it's now going to charge $29.99 per month for the Game Pass Ultimate subscription. $10, as I said, increase there from the other pricing that was before. They announced this increase earlier today out there. So in return, the subscribers will get more than 75 first-day releases a year. That includes premium titles, right? The ones you want to get. Call of Duty Black Ops 7, that comes out here in November. Ninja Gaiden 4 will be those premium ones that you get in advance if you subscribe to that service. Microsoft had last month also announced price hikes for its consoles in the U.S. By the way, for the second time this year, and they blame that on the tariffs at that time where they're built and shipped in here. Xbox, of course, has made big bets on its subscription services. They offer more premium titles, cloud gaming access as well. And Xbox is seeking to establish a foothold in the games as a service industry to counter the sluggish console sales. And, of course, all the other things around the world right now. Economic uncertainty. People aren't spending on leisure stuff like the Xbox, PS5, for instance, as well. So they're trying to get that guaranteed money in there from people. So alongside the price increase, well, Xbox rebranded the cheapest and middle tiers. They're calling them Essential and Premium now. They even included unlimited cloud gaming in those tiers. And it's all part of a push to allow gamers to stream titles anywhere that they play. They have the Xbox and everything. By the way, prices for those two tiers, those two lower tiers, well, they remain unchanged. So $10 increase for the big one. Everything else is the same with more stuff there. So heads up. I know some of you have kids on fall break out here. Heads up. Might be waking up to some news they're not too happy about here today, or you might not make them happy if you don't want to pay the $29.99 for that service, right? Hey, we talked all the time about synthetic dyes, companies taking them out. Are they not taking them out? Well, Walmart has a big announcement earlier today. They said they plan to remove the synthetic food dyes and 30 other ingredients, which does include preservatives, artificial sweeteners, fat substitutes. Well, they're going to remove them from their store brands sold in the United States. It's going to take them until January 2027 to complete it, but that's their headline goal date here as well. So, Walmart did announce this, and it amounts to an acknowledgement that the American consumers and the U.S. government, currently under President Trump, well, they're paying attention to what goes into packaged foods. Walmart said its goal would affect about 1,000 of their private label products. Salty snacks, baked goods, power drinks, salad dressings, even frostings there for private label Walmart are all under that microscope. Several of the ingredients, though, that Walmart did have on the removal list, well, they've already been banned by the U.S. They're not widely used, or they haven't ever been used in the U.S. Food supply, and it hasn't been done so in decades. So they listed a lot of ones that they're not simply using, I guess, to make it look better, right? But the other side of this, right, a lot of people argue that other items that were included that they're going to remove, well, they have no known problems. They've been targeted specifically by the Trump administration for review, for possible elimination. So there's some on that, but look, just get them out if there's any question mark, and Walmart's moving to that side of things as of now. Walmart said the 14-month reformulation plan, well, it would involve its largest private label food brand, obviously Great Value. If you know that brand, that is their private label. Customers can also expect changes to Walmart's marketplace and freshness guarantee lines. And that's the ones where the prepared foods, as they're going to change some of that as well. And then also some of the premium label Better Good products are going to be affected by this coming up as well. My opinion on that is if Better Goods, which is the better than Great Value, if Better Goods is having these increases, they were making cheaper products for Better Goods because those shouldn't have been involved in the higher end products there from Walmart, right? In my opinion. In recent months, major food companies, as we know, Kraft Heinz, Nestle, Conagra Brands, they've all been pledging to eliminate and making plans to eliminate those petroleum-based synthetic dyes over the next several years as well. So Walmart is taking it a little bit farther, though. They're identifying other kinds of food additives that they're going to phase out on their own without the pressure from the government, et cetera, in their timeline for Walmart as well. So big changes from Walmart with a big announcement today. And it's not just the government, right? It's the consumer demanding these items come out of the foods to be healthier as well. So Walmart getting ahead of that move here moving forward. And when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep this Wednesday edition going, folks. Come on back. We got local stories for everybody, including one coming up. If you like pumpkin spice lattes and you like the smell of it, well, 'tis the season for them. We got a list of products, if you like the smell, that you're going to need to know. Why? I don't know. But I got them for you coming up here, folks. Come on back. McCollum on Business. And we're back here, McCollum on business, and woo-wee, what a Wednesday here. Of course, earlier on the main event, we had Coach Mike Sheehan on from Scottsdale Christian Academy. It's fantastic doing our weekly segment with him, a bird's eye view. If you missed that, well, it's up on the YouTube page. Cut out there as an interview for you. Of course, Robat TV as well, on demand, and then free podcast system is where you can find that as well. Of course, we talked a lot of D-backs with Mike Hazen, Tori Lovello. They had a press conference yesterday as well, and it's just busy times here in the sports world. It is there. Thank you for finding us, however you watch us there. Of course, this show live at 11 o'clock, on demand as well, Robat TV, on the YouTube page as well for this show, and then the pit stop. You just saw the ad for that. Well, we do a look-back show early in the week. Well, this week with my voice, I just have not been able to get anything done here with the amount of shows done around here. So we're going to get the look back show done here today. Posted at Robat TV, YouTube as well, the free podcast system for that. I appreciate everybody's patience. We'll do the look ahead tomorrow as well to keep it consistent with the two shows. And Kansas last week was some controversy at the end of that race. We'll talk about, of course, coming up. And that'll be up here shortly later on today as well. And folks, we appreciate you joining us here. You want to do a show? We're in a brand new studio, building it out. I see Riley over here right now putting some things together and lighting's being adjusted, etc. You want to do a show, reach out to me. Let's get you on board and talk to you about it. If you're not sure how you're going to do, we can do some test stuff for you with you as well. Be fun to work with you here as we continue to grow here and with what we do here with that Robat TV services and all the other networks that we do deal with. And with that being said, let's get right back into the Market Watch. Well, this is just breaking right now. Intel stock is popping today. Well, news is the company Intel is in early talks to add AMD. Now we know they're talking with other customers, but add AMD as a customer for Intel right now. So their stock is just a big one here moving today on the market here as that news is just breaking right now. Intel's up 6% here today. A big up for them as they weren't even a blip on the market here earlier today when we were looking at this show. And look, the market as a whole is up today. Traders are betting that the government shutdown is going to be short-lived. That's what they're betting on. Market's up today off of that, right? Dow Jones is up to 159 points. S&P 500's up to 40. NASDAQ's up 93 points right now. Then the Russell 2K up 9 points for the small cap index. And then you got Bitcoin continuing to go up today. It's crossed that 117,000 level, 117,088 right now for Bitcoin as we're getting late into the trading day around these stocks. So is the optimism going to continue that this is a short-lived shutdown? Well, we'll have to tune in tomorrow and take a look at that as well here at 11 o'clock. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. Well, first one we're going to look at is a company called AES out there. They're a renewable thermal power producer. They're up big today, 16.98% right now. The Financial Times came out, and they did a report that BlackRock-owned Global Infrastructure Partners, that company, well, they're in late-stage talks to acquire AES, and it's considered a utility there with a thermal power producer, so possible buyout coming for AES, 17.02% up today based off of that news. And then Nike is the next stock we're going to look at. Nike's been struggling lately. Well, they did their announcement yesterday, and you know Nike, right? Athletic gear, shoes, etc. Up 5.48% today. They did beat Wall Street expectations on both lines, the revenue line and net income line in their fiscal first quarter. They did say that they see better than expected sales growth there in Nike. Nike's been struggling lately with their sales growth, right? But Nike did warn that sales could slide this holiday season, but Nike is experiencing higher tariff costs than even they anticipated. And they went on the conservative side, on the upper side of the tariff implications, where they're seeing a lot more tariff hits than they anticipated. They're expecting sales growth to struggle this holiday season, but at least their fiscal first quarter came in good for Nike, 5.45% up for Nike here today. And then Netflix is the next stock we're going to look at. We got one extra one here today coming your way, but Netflix, right, is down today, 1.84% right now. Was down over 3% earlier today. Tesla's CEO, Elon Musk, came out and he posted on X, his social media site, that users should cancel their Netflix subscriptions. Then, of course, when Elon Musk does that, big bunch of boycott calls happened on X and everywhere else. People started canceling Netflix. Well, Netflix is down because of that today. It was down over 3% earlier. You see the big drop there. But now it's only down 1.86%. But that's the reason. Elon Musk said, cancel your Netflix account. Then finally, Lithium Americas. We've talked about this stock lately. We've looked at this stock lately. It's up another 25.39% right now. It has been up a lot lately. It was 90% up at one point last week when we looked at it. The Department of Energy has officially said that it plans to take a 5% equity stake in Lithium Americas. They are a lithium miner. They're based out of Canada, ironically enough here. But they've officially said 5% equity stake is what they're going to do. Lithium Americas up this 25.48% here today based off of that news. We saw Intel take a bump also. MP Materials took a big bump when the government said they were going to take equity stake in these companies. So not unprecedented. And the bump isn't unprecedented either for that company out there. So a little bit more details on this story here as we talk about Lithium Americas. And, we looked at the stock. I gave you the overview of it here. But Lithium Americas is a company that's developing one of the world's largest lithium mines over there in northern Nevada. Right now, MP Materials in California is the only one that has, the mine there as well. But this new one's coming on board. And the Department of Energy, as I just said, will take a 5% equity stake as well. Lithium Americas, as I said, was Canadian. They're actually based out of Vancouver, if you're looking for information on them as well. But also, the Department of Energy, not just 5% in Lithium Americas, they're going to take 5% stake in the Thacker Pass lithium mining project as well. That's that mine in northern Nevada that Lithium Americas is doing a joint venture there with General Motors at that time. So 5% equity in both of those companies. Thacker Pass obviously is considered crucial if you know anything about the Trump administration because they're trying to reduce U.S. reliance on China for lithium. That's a very critical material. Batteries, cell phones, cars, EVs, renewable energies, all need lithium out there. So Republican and Democrats, they don't agree on much, right, with this shutdown looming and everything. But both Republicans and Democrats support the project and helping us not be reliant on those Chinese and China's, precious metals that we have to deal with. China is the world's largest lithium producer at this time. It's not even close, by the way, but they're the biggest one as well. So U.S. Energy Secretary, his name's Chris Wright, came out in a statement and said that the deal with Lithium Americas, quote, helps reduce our dependence on foreign adversaries for critical minerals or strengthening domestic supply chains and ensures better stewardship of American taxpayer dollars, unquote, from that side. I mean, anytime you can rely on it's just like oil, less on foreign governments, probably the better for our national security and our growth interest out there as well. So you look up Thacker Pass and this mine that they're developing up there in northern Nevada. It's expected to produce 40,000 metric tons of battery-quality lithium carbonate per year. That's just in the first phase of it as well. That's enough to power 800,000 EVs. So we're not talking a small mine here, folks. It is a large mine up there, national security interest, government taking that equity there as well. Well, how's the government shutdown going to affect us here in Arizona, other than obviously we talked yesterday about the FAA, airlines, etc. Well, what if you want to go on vacation, right? We're in fall break. You want to go up to the Grand Canyon, for instance. Well, Katie Hobbs, our governor here, Democratic governor, well, she says she's not going to be like her Republican predecessors. Katie Hobbs says she won't spend state funds to keep Arizona landmarks, specifically the Grand Canyon, open amid this federal government shutdown. So there was no deal done passing it there as well. I was trying to find out if it's actually closed here today or if there's a wind down of it as well. But so I don't know that answer as of right now. But some essential employees and services do remain open during a government shutdown. Obviously, air traffic controllers are. They're just not training new ones, for instance. Military still performs and gets paid, etc. Social Security benefits continue, but non-essential functions like parks, the Grand Canyon, anything operated by the National Park Service, well, they could close because the employees could be furloughed, as that is the threat here from the Trump administration as well. And if you look back here to the 2018 shutdown, well, President Trump then did keep some parks open with limited staff during that time frame. But conservationist, if I can speak, conservationists, well, they said it didn't go well that he kept open with limited staff. They say park experienced buildups of trash, human waste, vandalism took off in those parks as well by keeping them open with limited people there. But agreements between the National Park Service and the state government, well, in the past, they've kept the Grand Canyon Park open through past shutdowns. 2018-19, we just told you about that. 2013 shutdown, that was when Governor Jan Brewer was in office, stayed open at that time. But a spokesperson for Hobbs did say Arizona's already struggling to make ends meet during the Trump administration. They say additional cost of keeping a federal park open is too much for the state to bear. Hobbs previously pledged to keep the Grand Canyon open during the threat of a government shutdown under the Biden administration back in 2023. What does that D and that R mean anything in this process? Well, the big issue here is tourism officials. They warn that shuttered national parks could cost the state millions of dollars in revenue. If you want to look at just last year, the Grand Canyon, well, they generated $1 billion in positive economic impact just to the state of Arizona. That's according to the Arizona Lodging and Tourism spokespeople, putting that out as well. So we're not talking small pennies here if it does shut down. And obviously the Grand Canyon already has had a huge impact on the Arizona economy with the North Grand Canyon being shut down for some of this summer with that big fire that rolled through. So now the whole park as a whole possibly could be going that route. So those things, think about that here as you're planning vacations during fall break, thinking about getting up north there. It's a national park, etc. Just pay attention to that. Might want to look it up before you travel up there as well. And this next story, I'm going to read it directly from KJazz. They do a good enough job explaining it. I didn't know how to write this. I saw a bunch of articles on these little things called dots moving around the city and expanding out there. So let's just go with KJazz, who does a phenomenal job with stories like this. And they say if you've ever driven through Tempe or Mesa in the past few months, you may have passed a small red robot with big bright eyes and headlights. And they could be driving beside you on the road, could be on the sidewalk as well as you're walking. Well, these bots are called DOT, D-O-T. DoorDash is who operates them, and that's what they call them, DOT. It's about the size of a big baby stroller, has the capacity to haul up to 6 large pizzas, is what DoorDash says that it could do as well. The autonomous delivery robots have made hundreds of successful deliveries in Tempe and Mesa, specifically, is what they're doing. Why is this a story if they're successful in those areas? Well, it's now expanding to all parts of the Phoenix metro region here coming up here. You might see dots running around everywhere else. So, by the way, they've reached speeds of up to 20 miles per hour, according to the DoorDash website. It's intended for quick deliveries in neighborhoods to help local businesses meet growing consumer demand, as what they're for. So, in its expansion run smoothly, DoorDash does say it plans to bring DOT to more markets across the U.S., if it works here in Arizona. So don't let DoorDash down, people, when using dots out there. But whole Phoenix Metro coming your way here shortly, according to DoorDash out there. And then the Cardinals are making a move, right? Not from Glendale with their home stadium, but their practice facility, right? They've been down in Tempe, Warner and Priest roughly area for about 30 years now. Since they came to the Valley. Well, Cardinals say they're now moving to their training facility and their headquarters, and they're moving it up to the North Phoenix area. This was a story yesterday. We talked about it. It broke during the main event. Some more business details here as well. So this new training facility will be located at Paradise Ridge. That's that area up there where the Coyotes Stadium was supposed to be built, west of Scottsdale Road, north of the Loop 101. Well, the Cardinals purchased the 217-acre property this summer at that Arizona State Land Department auction. They bought it for $136 million is what the land was worth when they purchased it. The team's new training facility and headquarters will include natural grass outdoor practice fields, an indoor field house, an expanded locker room, state-of-the-art training, medicine, strength, and conditioning spaces, even updated dining areas and meeting rooms. Hey, they're going to throw a player lounge in there as well for those new facilities up there. So the Cardinals need it. They get ranked at the low end of weight room, lodging, etc. They get ranked really low on those there in the Tempe facility. So this is coming their way, hopefully, to upgrade that and scheduled to open in 2028. For those of you future Cardinals out there in the draft coming up, if you're drafted by the Cardinals, you'll experience the new place out there. And I told you earlier we had a story on pumpkin spice, and we'll end up with this one as well. Well, pumpkin spice season, as you know, is here. It's October 1st now, right? It's killing and, fall season out there with Halloween stories and stuff. Well, if it's not good enough to just grab a latte and smell it and drink it, etc., other brands are jumping into the lattes, and the pumpkin spice and the fall flavor that is out there. Pumpkin spice in previous years, right? They've had Spam, pumpkin spice Spam. Butter spreads have been in the flavor. Ramen, cat litter. Even cat litter has gone viral on social media. Well, they're not all available this year out there, but there are other ones coming your way. Well, I don't know about this, but if you want the pumpkin spice spell, it's for you. And I appreciate the picture of the hefty bags, guys, not the deodorant ones. People smelling like pumpkin spice deodorant. So National Pumpkin Spice Day, they have it there. National Pumpkin Spice Day is here as of today. So here's some pumpkin spice and flavored stuff, folks. Twinkies. Hostess is coming, selling its limited edition pumpkin spice Twinkies. No desire for this. Maybe you do out there. Let me know. Hit me up on the socials, SMAC500, if you want some pumpkin spice Twinkies out there. Well, it's made with a traditional golden sponge cake and pumpkin-flavored filling. Pumpkin spice-flavored filling is what it is. They're available online, various local markets out there. Go to the Hostess website to find out where you can buy pumpkin spice Twinkies. Toothpicks. You want your toothpicks to smell like pumpkin spice, taste like it? Well, I love the pictures, man. There you go. Zero Picks. They're a toothpick brand dedicated to replacing hand-to-mouth behaviors, things like nicotine and dependency. They have a limited line of pumpkin spice toothpicks. They cost $14.30 for you if you're interested in that. The toothpicks are designed to be used more like a lollipop than a toothpick. Zero Picks, well, they state on their website that one toothpick can be used, or be sucked on for about 20 to 25 minutes before it loses that yummy flavor that you all are looking for. Gum brands are out there with it as well, with that pumpkin spice latte smell is taste. Simply Gum, I should say. That's made with nutmeg, olive, and pumpkin spice. And pumpkin oils. It's a chewing gum available for $18 on the Simply Gum website. If that's more your bag, hey, don't forget about your animals out there. We told you about the kitty litter in previous years. I tried finding if the kitty litter was available this year. I didn't find it before showtime, but several pet brands have released pumpkin spice flavored foods and treats for your dogs and cats. Yes, some of the best sellers are Ben & Jerry's Rosie's Batch Doggy Desserts with pumpkin and mini cookies. Milk-Bone Pumpkin Spice Dog Biscuits. Those are $4 at PetSmart, Chewy, Petco. Fry's, Target. If you want your dog to have the pumpkin spice taste. Yeah, you can get Bacon Pumpkin Bites with bacon and pumpkin over at Target. Nacho bone froth infused kibbles, kid chicken and pumpkin recipe, $12.34 for you there at the Nacho website for them. So don't forget about your animals, folks. But if you don't want to just eat and drink and pick your teeth and suck on toothpicks, chew some gum with that smell, as we kind of hinted there as well, right? Dove cinnamon pumpkin pie soap, available at Walmart and Target. Native vanilla cream and pumpkin, over there as well on the Native website. Dr. Squatch, I always say Sasquatch. Dr. Squatch's Drunken Pumpkin, $33.30 for Autumn Harvest Bundle. That includes Drunken Pumpkin, Flannel Forest, and Spike Cider Body Soap, I should say. Yes, Dr. Squash website for that for you as well. Yeah, Kobe's in my ear saying we got beard oil. Let's talk about it. Because not only that, you got the deodorant as well. You guys saw the deodorant earlier. Yeah, beard. If you got a beard, you got a long beard. Yes, you can also have pumpkin spice as you see on your screen there. Texas Beard Company is offering a limited edition pumpkin spice beard oil. $18 on its website. It's made with golden jojoba, sweet almond, grapeseed, avocado, pumpkin seed oils, in addition to cinnamon, vanilla, coffee bean, and other flavors that they have there as well. Texas Beard Company, well, they sell a pumpkin spice beard balm, heavy-duty beard oil. It's a mix of both traditional oils and balms. For those of you that want to walk around on that side with your beard smelling all pumpkin spicy. You saw the trash bag picture early on as well. So Hefty has the trash bags as well. So you can have that cinnamon pumpkin spice trash bag smell in your house. 13-gallon bags. They're available on Amazon is where those are as well. By the way, if you looked up the star rating, which I did on these, 3.9 out of 5 star rating as well. People love these. People think like this stuff is you must have it for this time of year as well. But the problem is that people did not like the hefty smell here. They didn't think it smelled appropriately. Let's put it that way. It didn't smell right for these bags. So be careful on some of these items. They might not smell like you expect them to say. But finally, I'm going to leave you on the show with this part of the pumpkin spice smells. Potpourri is offering a maple pumpkin scented spray, obviously intended to be sprayed in the toilet before, you do your business there. Yeah, a single spray bottle is available for $10 at the Potpourri website, in addition to Amazon and Walmart. There you go, folks. Have a good Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow here at McCollum on Business. Thursday edition. Don't forget Uncle Lou on the main event in the morning. Catch him as well. Talk some UFC as well as obviously some NFL action that starts off tomorrow night. Come and join us, would you? We'll see you all tomorrow, everybody. Have a great Wednesday night.